Hello and welcome back to the Sentient Sock Puppets. And look at this! I got a new game shelf! Now, I was originally just going to be making a video showing this off, but I figured, while I'm at it, I was going to show off my whole gaming rig, my game room tour, basically. It also, you know, doubles as my bedroom, because I'm broke and can't afford to move out. So, let's start in the closet. So, normally I wouldn't show this off, but this is actually where the Sentient Sock Puppets began. When I first started making videos, this was all cleared out. I would push all my clothes back. I would put my tablet on a stand made out of Legos in order to record myself. And I had to actually memorize all of my lines because I didn't have any way of editing the videos. So it was just like one cut basically, and then I'd upload it. I'm really glad I'm not in there anymore. But this is the new game shelf, and so let's start up top. I have, I don't know why this is up here, but I have two backup consoles. Also, this is probably like my rarest game actually. This is complete in box, usually sells for like 130. Also, I have Gradius 3, got that at Too Many Games. Basically, these are just the games I'm proudest to have. And then starting off, I did PlayStation 2, because that's really like one of my favorite systems. Also continues down here. Now I got some PlayStation 2, then it blends into Xbox. I got my limited edition thing right there, and GameCube right there. I know a lot of people usually like to do like PlayStation 2, then 3. I actually kind of like to keep it by generation instead. So, you know, original Xbox, GameCube, PS2, all around the same area. But yeah, PS2 is definitely, I believe, the console I have the most games for. I'm not 100% sure. Alright, next shelf down here, I got Captain Phasma holding up my Vita and PS1 games. I love collecting for my PlayStation 1. Vita, you know, not so much. But back here, now I actually had to condense a lot because I had so many games that I wanted to get rid of that ugly plastic shelving that I had before. Here's my N64 games on top of my NES games. This way I can still see it and, like, you know, pull it out. PSP games over here. And yeah. Next shelf down, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. I have my without a box DS games. I you know, like I said before, you can go into a GameStop and buy them like 89 cents a pack. Or a pack. 89 cents a game, so I really just keep buying them. Sega Genesis games, these actually, most of these boxes are from when we were kids, and we lost the cartridge and the box separately. We don't have the cartridges anymore, but most of these are just empty boxes. My two Sega Saturn games, my very tiny Dreamcast game. I actually did just get a copy of Shenmue, which I'm happy. A few box Game Boy games, best one right there. Next we got Game Gear, blue Sega Genesis, my one Wonder Swan game, which I actually found out how to pronounce. It's called R.A. Panda no Gunpei, and I will make a video on it eventually. Alright, next up we got SNES games, Game Boy games, and down here, you know, the 3DS is my favorite, and before that, the DS was my favorite. And this thing is great. I have 60 plus 3DS games alone. I've got them all complete in their boxes. So this is, I just got this and I really wanted to be able to display all of my 3DS games, but I didn't have the room. Normal people would say, let me build an extra shelf. Me, I say, let me build a stand for the rest of my games out of Legos. So that's exactly what I did. It works. So that's the new game shelf. Over here I have, this is my desktop, and this is actually supposed to be right there. This is my desktop where I do my repairs on consoles and such. I also have a PC, which I'm getting a graphics card soon. You've all seen the game shelf. I also have more backup consoles up there. Over here, mostly just empty boxes. This is a little messy, but I got like a 360 box, PS4 box. And down here, like I said, I do a lot of repairs on consoles, and this is the shelves, the drawers from an actual Radio Shack. The Radio Shack that I worked at, actually. I got this entire thing for $5. This shelf, and I think everything in here afterwards cost me about $15 altogether. But this is just filled with parts which I used to fix everything. I had my PSP games over here, but I decided to put my Atari 2600 and 5200 just because that's really the only space I have. PC games, more PC games, some empty boxes of things, Lynx games, boxed NES, Atari 2600, more PC and television. And down here on these ugly plastic shelvings, which was originally where I stored all of my games, I have things like my 2600, PS2, I have a few PSPs that I'm fixing for a friend, and more empty boxes, so like my Retron 5, and back there I have a cheap Chinese weird Wii knockoff. But this is really where it all happens. Let me clean it up a little bit. Alright, so over here, I need to find a new spot to hang Flareon since the shelf is in front of where it originally was. But I'm a big fan of vinyl. I have a kind of small vinyl collection, but I really just have what I want on there. I'm a big fan of Genesis and a lot of Classic Rocket. I love Journey. And underneath is my laser disc player, which I really haven't used much, but I have some Robotech on there, and then I have Blade Runner and stuff like that. Up here is where I store all the games that I don't have the case for. Just something so I'm not throwing them around, getting them scratched and everything. I also have a weird PC game here. Some big box PC games behind those weird Pez dispensers. And these are games that I borrow from friends. I don't want to put them on my shelf because then I get used to them being there and never ever give them back. I also randomly have some Ghost in the Shell right there. Still have not watched it, unfortunately. Sega Saturn, and below and right next to it I have all my stuff for my cleaning disc supplies. This is actually something that I find really useful whenever I go to Goodwill or flea market and I find some scratched discs. This thing works really well. You can get it for $40, I think, but when Radio Shack closed, I got a great deal. This light gun, which I don't have all the cords for, so I can't really use it. Behind that, I got my Sega Dreamcast, my Nintendo 64 on top of a VHS player that I can run things through, like my Atari 2600 and things like that, in case I ever need to get some better picture quality out of it. But this TV actually runs directly off of RF, which kind of sucks because the picture is really bad. Anyway, up here I got some Pokemon cards. I have the first 3, Scott Pilgrim's, Console Wars, great book from what I've read so far, some Star Wars stuff, and my very tiny movie collection. I have my PlayStation 2, which I flipped down because I hear that running it while standing up actually can damage it. Behind that I have, this isn't a game system, this is actually a label maker, which I use for just about everything. And Flareon is sitting on top of the GameCube, which is on top of the original Xbox. Love my original Xbox. And then over here, I got this at Goodwill for $8 the other day. This is a stand. You can actually put the Wii in the bottom right here, which is really cool. And there's stuff on the side for the Wiimotes, but I don't really use it. Here's the TV. This thing sucks. It has a high-pitched noise when it plays. It looks terrible because I have to downgrade everything to RF. And it just sucks. I really need to get a new one. But up here, this is actually supposed to go like that. Up here, I have my switches, which I can really just flip to anything, which is my favorite part about my game setup. Press of a button, I can switch to any console at any time. So if you come over here, if I want to play PS2, click that, Xbox, GameCube, Dreamcast, and then this switches between the two, and then over here I have more. Those all run, before going to the TV, those all actually run through this stereo back here. It's old 80s Sony one. But I have a speaker here, here, all the way down there, and right behind you. And so I got kind of surround sound in here. It sounds pretty good. Other consoles that I have. I got this pull-out drawer. I got my Sega Genesis, my TurboGrafx 16 that I keep bagged up so it doesn't get dusty or anything. Master System doesn't come out too easily, so I'm not going to force that. Next, these are where this is where I keep most of my controllers. I have them individually bagged in order to keep dust off of them, as well as to keep them from getting untangled. To keep them from getting tangled. That really helps. Over here is where I keep my mess of memory cards. I have so many of these things. And back there is actually my Atari 5200 and my television in pieces, trying to get them to work. Alright, so I just showed off my controllers. Now, down here I keep, let me move my gnome, he always stays right there, that's his resting place. Down here I keep more controllers, and now I tend to, up here, I try to keep one controller from every console in this bin, or just controllers for consoles that I use very often. These are things I don't use often, like my wireless GameCube controllers, and I also have a few broken ones in the bottom of that. But speaking of broken consoles, I have two separate console graveyards, I guess. These are all under my desk. I got this is just filled with cords and everything, but back here is where all my consoles and such that really don't work. I have one of my very dusty Sega Master Systems, got a PS3. I have a backup Atari Lynx, and I got like 7 Game Gears in there that all don't work. It's just, I use them for parts every now and then, basically. And like I said, I have a second one. I have a second one right over here. Let me move my laptop. And in here I have, I think, 3 original Xboxes, a PlayStation 2, a 360. Yeah, there's just... I usually get broken consoles if I can find them for the right price, so that's really where they started to stack up. And really the last thing that I need to show is right over here. I have all of my portable games. I really need to find a place for this. This is where I did have my 3DS games. But you open up here, here's my main ones. I got both my 3DSs, my Vita, got some more cables and stuff for Game Boy. This drawer pulls out. I got my NVIDIA Shield, PSP, Game Gear, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. More Game Boy Advances, my Lynx, my Color, or my Neo Geo Pocket Color, my DSi. And that is really it. And that's really it for my game collection up here. All of my modern consoles are downstairs so that all of my family can use them, but really it's just me and Evan. Last thing I want to show, like I said, I am a huge fan of vinyl, and this is Evan's room.
Woo! Welcome to my world.
This is your room, so I'll let you do the tour.
Okay, it's my really messy bed. Don't look at that. There's a computer and a keyboard.
Do you play games on your computer?
Very, very rarely. Should we show off my guitars?
Sure, but what kind of setup are you running on your PC?
A really crappy one. It's just like a standard HP, and I just stuck a 750 Ti in it.
That's basically what I'm doing.
Right now, this whole pile of boxes is like parts for different things. I've been building. It's been collecting dust, unfortunately. But back here is a trash can, a broken kick pedal for my drums, dirty clothes. I didn't have the amount of preparation Josh had for this. Okay, so these are like, I bought these at when we went to Too Many Games this year. I have a few books. I don't read much. Should we start with vinyl first?
Sure.
Okay.
It's your tour.
Okay, well, it's mostly Genesis. There's like a solid section from right. That's right there. That's all Genesis. I mean, I hate to say it's mostly Genesis. This is in the wrong spot. It's all alphabetically organized. Whatever I'm listening to, like right now, usually goes up here. Oh, I have Your Trick of the Tail. That's why.
Yeah, I had to put some of my some of my records and all of my Laserdisc in here for the time being, just because I don't have a spot in my room. I'm gonna get a crate for it soon.
Yeah, it's from right about here. Yeah, this is all Josh's. This is all mine. There's Yes. Huge fan of Yes as well.
Yeah, I think we both are.
And then here, Dad gave me like a bunch of CDs to listen to. I'm not gonna listen to them. A lot of it is Genesis as well, just so I can listen in the car. And then this is my cassette collection. The Genesis starts here. This is the first Genesis, and it's alphabetical. This entire drawer is almost completely Genesis.
Yeah, we're big Genesis fans.
Yeah. And then yes, Weird Al. Some
greats.
of our little kid mixtapes. I just got this. Josh gave this to me today.
I did not give it to you.
It's been sitting in his room.
I let you set it up in your room.
It's been sitting in his room, unplayed. You don't want to see clothes. This is my first guitar. It's just a nice little classical.
Yeah, Evan spends just about as much money on guitars as I spend on video games.
Yeah, I have a problem.
Yeah. So how many guitars do you own?
3, 4, 5, 7. I own 7, and I'm in the middle of buying another one. This is the first guitar I ever bought with my own money. It's just an Epiphone Les Paul. Ryan, who recently moved out, I took his room, and he left his guitar here. It's the Paul Allender PRS signature model. It's currently missing a string, and I just have not gotten around to restringing it. I don't really play. I'm not a shredder. I'm more of a acoustic type classical, so I don't really play electric guitars very often. This might be my favorite guitar in my collection, just because of how old it is. I got this from my aunt, who got it from a friend who bought it in the early to late 60s, like mid-late 60s. It's a Yamaha 12-string. It's the FG 260. It's just got a nice, like, bright, open sound. Had some work done to it recently to, the action was really low, or I mean really high, so I had, my guy fix it for me. Another 12-string. It's absolute crap. It's got this weird buzzing problem, and the action is just way too high. It's just really bright and tinny. I got it for free. Someone was gonna throw it away, so I just took it off their hands. And then my other two guitars are a bass guitar and a black acoustic guitar. My best friend is currently borrowing those. It was definitely a Christmas present.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My birthday and Christmas are like a week apart, so. It's just an orange 20 RT or something like that. It's got really good effects for like the little bedroom practice amp that is. I used to have like a little plastic pellet on this, but my friend cut it off and tied my R2-D2 to it.
This is for your light.
Yeah, the light.
So when are you gonna start your YouTube channel about your guitars and your music?
I plan to shortly.
You're actually planning on making one?
I have been for a while. I just don't know.
That was my game room and Evan's, I guess, music room. So I hope you liked it. I really like these game room tour videos on YouTube, so I figured I'd make my own, showing off my tiny collection. But I really like the games I have, and same thing with Evan's guitars, I assume.
I love my guitars, except for that crappy one.
I guess that is it.
So we meet again.
Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.